get better results.
All right. My name is Chris Rogers, and I'm going to talk to you guys today about immigration and some of the changes we need to make to immigration. So, with the new law being passed in Arizona, immigration is a hot topic right now, and people are wondering what we should be doing about that. Some people say that we should give them all just amnesty and let them stay here. I just don't feel that's the right thing to do. You know, I believe we need to make some changes to the immigration laws, and in the speech here, I'm going to talk about a couple of those things. I'm going to talk about work permits, the changes to the minimum wage, and also a possible change to the Constitution. Like I say, a lot of people are throwing all kinds of ideas out there. Some of the ideas are good, and some of the ideas are not so good. The problem I see with giving all the illegal immigrants we have in the country now amnesty is that it sets a precedence that it's okay to come in illegally, and we'll just give you amnesty. You can stay here, no big deal. And I also just don't feel it's right to the people that are actually in the system trying to become legal immigrants. They wasted all this time waiting to become a legal citizen of the United States, and they have these illegal immigrants that come in, and they're now all of a sudden legal residents. So I mean, it would probably make those people that are sitting there waiting for their immigration papers, it make them think twice about trying to do it legally, and they might actually start crossing the border to try and hope that they get amnesty also. And I think that would create an even bigger problem with having illegal workers or illegal immigrants come into across the border. I believe we need to take a hard stand like they did in Arizona, and everybody should be required to carry some form of ID that shows that you're a legal U.S. citizen. And I think you should apply to everybody. When you go down to get either a state working permit or a driver's license, you should have some way of showing that you are a legal U.S. citizen. And the reason why I say you should apply to everybody is that it eliminates the possibility of there being racism or anything. Nobody can claim that they were segregated or that they were profiled or anything like that, because everybody would have to have the same identification. And now I'm not against immigrants coming in and working or anything like that. And one of the biggest changes I think they need to make to the immigration laws is they need to change how they do the work permits. They currently you can get work permits for migrant workers where they can come in, work for a few years, then they have to reapply, and then there's other work permits you can get for they're 6-year permits, but that's only for like if you have a college degree, you come in and you're doing some kind of skilled profession. There's not really any kind of like long-term permit that would just allow the average worker to come in and be able to work in our country for over an extended period of time. I believe that with the countries that border ours, we should have some kind of permit where it allows these workers to come across and they can work for an indefinite period of time. They can go back and forth. But with that being said, they'd have to renew it every 2 years or 3 years or whatever. And when they go and renew, they have to show that they have been working for that time period that they were in the United States, and that they have a job lined up, when they do renew their permit. And then after a certain amount of time, they should either have to apply to become a U.S. citizen, or they should go back to their country. The next one goes hand in hand with the next one I got, the next change I have, which is a change to the minimum wage law. Currently, the minimum wage law is set so that an average family can live off of a minimum wage, or a person could actually make he would be able to go out and rent an apartment and all that off of minimum wage. I just don't think that's right. I believe minimum wage should be for beginning workers, people starting out in the workforce, or for menial jobs, assembling a box so that somebody else can put this stuff into it. That should be what minimum wage is for. And I believe that if they lowered that minimum wage down, that then that would encourage more companies to hire legal workers to come in and work versus trying to either pay somebody under the table to come in, and a lot of times that would be your legal immigrants. I also believe that they should not make the minimum wage mandatory. I believe that making it mandatory deters people from also hiring in legal immigrants, because they would have to pay them the minimum wage, which is $7, $8. Well, with it not being mandatory, they would be able to hire in legal workers, and they would just pay them by how much work they do. And this right here is mainly for jobs that would be picking berries, apples, fruits, stuff like that, migrant type work where people go around and they produce they can actually show a product for what the work they do. An example is this: my first job I had when I was 12 years old. I was out picking berries for over the summer. Well, I had about 20 or 30 migrant workers that also worked with me through that whole summer. And the next year when I came back to work at that farm, they were no longer hiring people off the street because minimum wage was now mandatory. So what that meant is that everybody they hired, they had to pay their minimum wage. That meant we all lost our jobs. We no longer, they were no longer hiring people there. But that's just one small spot. I mean, you look at across Washington State and across the whole USA, how many people lost their jobs because of that mandatory minimum wage? And it goes back to having the minimum wage lowered. You know, if they were paid by the amount of work they do, I believe that the companies would hire more legal workers to come in and do those jobs. When it also adds to our tax base, so it's a win-win for everybody. My next suggestion is the most controversial of all, and that is a change to the Constitution. I believe that they need to change the Constitution to make it so that illegal immigrants, the babies of illegal immigrants, are not automatically U.S. citizens. Now, if somebody's an immigrant and they're in a country legally on some kind of permit, or they're here any way that's legal, and they have a baby, by all means that baby can be a U.S. citizen. But if you're across the border illegally and you're in our country, then by all means that baby should not be a legal U.S. citizen. By allowing illegal immigrants to stay, you know, just giving them amnesty and allowing them to stay here either through amnesty or through anchor babies, we have no way of vetting, you know, these immigrants to know whether or not they're criminals or whether or not they're going to contribute to our society. I just think that's wrong. You know, our country was founded by hardworking immigrants that came here and worked hard for what they got. And I'm not against the immigrants coming in and working hard, but you know, that's why we need some kind of reform to our immigration laws. All right, thank you.